Your Excellency, Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, President Muhammadu Buhari, Minister of Environment, my brother and friend, the Right Honorable Speaker, Honorable Femi Gbajabiamila, the Chief Justice of Nigeria, represented, the Deputy Speaker of the House of Representatives, Honorable Ahmed Idris Wase, the National Chairman of the All Progressives Congress, APC, represented by the Organizing Secretary, the Principal Officers of the Senate and the House, Service Chiefs represented, heads of agencies, civil society organizations, other invited guests, gentlemen of the press, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. Let me start by congratulating the leadership and membership of the House of Representatives for this very important and memorable event, the event where the Nigerian public will have the legislative agenda of the House unveiled and made available. For me, I am not an invited guest. I am part and parcel of this event and this institution. By my calling today, the legislative agenda that we are about to unveil is supposed to be our legislative agenda in the Senate as well. Being a bicameral legislature, the two chambers of the National Assembly have so many things in common. By way of maybe emphasis, any bill that originates from the Senate has to be concurred by the House before it could sail for the presidential assent. Similarly, any bill that originates from the House of Representatives must receive the concurrence of the Senate before it goes to the next stage of presidential assent. And therefore, the legislative agenda of the House is the Senate's legislative agenda as well. The Senate set up a committee to work on its legislative agenda, and we resolved and accepted the report of that committee. We defined clearly our roadmap for taking Nigeria to the next level of development and prosperity. But certainly, that would have to have the blessing and the endorsement of the House of Representatives. And therefore, even though the legislative agendas of the two chambers would have been separately treated, we have the same mission. And that mission is a mission to take Nigeria to greater heights in the next 4 years. This 9th National Assembly, especially the two chambers, have a great deal of understanding for positive things for Nigeria. The leadership of the two chambers emerged through very transparent processes, and the two chambers enjoy excellent stability and relationships today. What is next is for us to ensure that we transform and translate the stability we enjoy within the chambers and between us, within the two chambers, into productivity by way of legislative implementation of whatever we decided to call our agenda. I have no doubt that the leadership of the House and the membership will work so closely with the Senate and ensure that in the next few years, the two agendas of the two chambers combined will provide the kind of stability in terms of sustainable development trajectory for Nigeria. We want to ensure that as a legislature, the 9th National Assembly improves and sustained better security for Nigerians. We want to see an economy that works for all Nigerians. That is to say, an all-inclusive economy that brings out the millions of Nigerians, especially our youth who are unemployed, into jobs, sustainable jobs. We want to see a diversification of this economy, where about 70% of our population that lives in the rural area is able to enjoy some kind of support from government for the agricultural sector to make their lives. The two agendas will definitely dovetail into one agenda with executive agenda. The legislature today, like my friend, the Right Honorable Speaker said, works very closely with the executive arm of government. There is no difference between what we want to achieve in the legislature, in the National Assembly, with what the executive arm of government wants to achieve. We want to achieve the same thing, and therefore we'll utilize the excellent relationship that we have today to ensure that Nigerians get a better deal. Let me say, by way of getting a better deal, that the House of Representatives has shown clearly how prepared it is to work for Nigeria in a reform way. The House, of course, you may hear this from the House, but the spirit and manner that the MTF was passed by the House shows clearly the commitment of the House, the capacity of the House, the willingness of the House to work assiduously for Nigeria to make progress. We are going to work jointly to ensure that we maintain and sustain this momentum. One thing that we have decided collectively with the House is to pass the budget 2020 before the end of the year, by the grace of God. Already the House has suspended plenary. The Senate will do the same on Tuesday next week for the consideration of budget defense by the ministries, departments, and agencies of government. And I would like to take this opportunity here today to say that only the window of October is available for budget defense. Any minister or any head of agency who decides to travel out of Nigeria without defending his or her budget would have no opportunity again to defend that budget. The National Assembly will do the right thing, will do the appropriate thing, work on the budget, and pass it. We will not like or allow anyone to frustrate our desire to pass the budget 2020 before the end of this year. So it's an opportunity for everyone who is supposed to defend or her budget or his budget to take the opportunity available. And of course, our processes are going to be firmed up. It is our desire as a National Assembly to ensure that Nigerians get better infrastructure and social services. Finally, let me once more congratulate my brother, the Speaker, and his deputy, and members of the House. And Mr. Speaker, I want to take this opportunity to inform you once again that the Senate has already passed the bill, amendment bill, on the deep offshore and inland basin production sharing contract for second reading. We are taking the report of our committee on Tuesday and will pass the bill for the third reading, and this House will now help us get that bill passed for the President to assent. Nigerians should know that this is a commitment of the National Assembly. This administration lost over 300 billion in 2019 because of what that act is. But as soon as we came in, the Speaker and I and the leadership of the National Assembly took it as a challenge to work on this act, amend it, pass it, and get the resources required in funding the 2020 budget as a result of the amendment. And I'm sure, Honorable Speaker, distinguished and honored members, this is one thing that we will have to sustain. This is one thing that we have to continue to do in the next 4 years, because the level that Nigeria needs funds for social services and infrastructural development are such that we cannot afford to lose any more revenue that is due to federal government. Thank you very much for the opportunity to be here. Thank you.
I'm sure you all agree with me that I've been an inspiring speech by the Senate President, and so it is not too much to ask that we please put our hands together once again for His Excellency, distinguished Senator Unveil Lawan, President of the Senate. Thank you so much for those inspiring words. Anyone who listens to the Speaker and listens to you question that the man who is standing in for the National Chairman of the Progressive Congress joins them also as they step forward for the... It is yours. Please put your hands together for the Deputy Speaker.
Your Excellency, the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, President Muhammad Buhari, GCFR, ably represented by the Minister of Environment, my brother, the able Senate President, His Excellency, distinguished Senator Ahmed Lawan, my brother, the Honorable Speaker, House of Representatives, Honorable Femi Bajabiamila, who we popularly call Evangelista Kano, the Honorable Deputy Speaker, Honorable Ahmed Wazir, the liaison of the President in the House of Representatives, my brother, Honorable Umar Ibrahim El-Nko, the Clerk, National Assembly, the Clerk of the House of Representatives, distinguished senators of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, honorable members of the House of Representatives, invited guests, ladies and gentlemen, I welcome you to this special occasion of the unveiling of the House legislative agenda. The legislative agenda is nothing but the way this institution decides to work and offer its services to Nigerians. I'm glad that my brother, the Speaker, has exposed his intention to Nigerians. We support him. We know that he's very serious. The timing here is very, very important. This House started just a few weeks ago. And as soon as it started, the House left on break. It has just come back. So when I was asked to come and unveil this agenda, I was surprised at the speed with which the Speaker and the House moved. And it is a testimony to the Speaker that he is a thoroughbred Democrat. We fought together with him to ensure that democracy survives in this country. And Mr. Speaker, I congratulate you very much. And this, of course, would not have happened without the active support of your colleagues in the House of Representatives. So members of the House of Representatives, I salute you. And I want to especially recognize my members from Kano State, among whom is the House leader. And I know that members from Kano State are very, very active supporters of the Speaker. So I wish to commend you and to also thank you very much for the support that you have been giving the Speaker. It's not for me to make any speech. I know that this is a very important occasion, and the Senate President, who was with me in the House of Representatives, a very active member of that House of Representatives. In fact, I'm very delighted about the attitude that the distinguished Senate President has adopted this time around of working in a more cooperative manner with the executive in order to carry this country to the next level. Mention must be made by me that when the House of Representatives in 1999 determined that the President must be impeached, it was the Senate President himself that amended or introduced an amendment to our motion to include that the President be impeached. So this is a special time to disclose this secret. And today, the Senate President, with the benefit of hindsight, has now decided that we cannot achieve much without cooperating with the other arm of government. Mr. President, we all admire you and the way you are steering this ninth Senate, and it is our hope that your colleagues will support you in this endeavor. Democracy, as we know, has been a work in progress in this country, and people have assumed where we left off, and there must be progress. So thank you very much. With these few remarks, let me unveil this agenda on behalf of the Speaker of the House of Representatives. Thank you very much.
So, Your Excellency, you can go ahead and unveil now. And I want to also invite to join you so that we can have some sense of gender balancing. Senator Akon, the senator representing Akwa Ibom South, please, you are invited. And the representative of the Secretary to the Government of the Federation, please come forward and join them to hold a copy each for the photo shoot. Thank you very much. If you can allow the women to also have a very good position in there, it will be very good. Thank you very much, Your Excellencies. Please let's put our hands together for Your Excellencies as they go back to their seat, and as I invite His Excellency, the President of the Federal